So you'll want to play Colosseum? Good. Me too. And that's why I made this video. I'm not going for that viral niche of entertaining tutorials for board games that have been out of print for more than 2 years. I wanted to teach you how to play in a thorough and concise manner so we can actually play. I mean, check it out. It's got dice with Roman numerals, assets to trade and even bid on. And this track here that has a red emperor, a couple of blue consoles, and a few yellow senators going around it, with the chance of visiting one of these. An arena that each player has. Around it all is a number track that keeps track of the score. What score? Well, each player is going to produce events to attract the most spectators to their arena. The game's 5 turns long, and each turn is made up of 5 phases. Scoring is not a total, but a measure of which single event attracts the most spectators. By the end of turn 5, whichever player's single event attracted the most spectators over any of the 5 turns wins. Alright, so let's get started. Now in a 4-player game, each player starts with 6 assets, 30 coin, and 2 events, one randomly chosen from 1 to 5, and one randomly chosen from 6 to 10. You're going to give the first player this coin because it's time to start the first phase, investing. Now you can invest in one of 4 things. Either a new event, which probably won't happen this turn, since we each start out with 2, but it's something to look forward to. You see how much they cost in the upper right. 2, a season ticket, which gives you a +5 bonus to your spectator count. They cost 10 coin. 3, an arena expansion, and they'll be needed to host bigger and better events that you'll later be producing. They also cost 10 coin. Or 4, the Emperor's Lodge. These only cost 5 coin, and these grant you something special. Remember those Roman numeral dice? Typically, you're only able to roll one of these when it's time, but if you've got an Emperor's Lodge in your arena, you get to roll 2. So, looks like Red's going first, and he decides to invest in an Emperor's Lodge. Blue's going for that season ticket, long live the +5. And we've got purple and green investing in an Emperor's Lodge for themselves too. Now, we proceed to phase 2, the bidding phase. Remember all those assets outside the dice in the middle there? Well, each group of 3 assets is considered a market. You're going to be bidding on these with your coin. Now, player Red's going to bid first, and he's got one of these 2 events to produce on this turn, with these assets currently available. Let's focus on the left one, the Race of Janus. It requires 2 gladiators and 2 horses. He's got the 2 gladiators, but he needs the 2 horses. Otherwise, if he were to produce this event now, he'd be too shy, and that would only attract 5 spectators. But wait a sec, that market in the lower right there's got 2 horses, and another gladiator too. And stocking up on a particular asset is also a smart thing, as you'll soon see. So Red makes the minimum bid of 8 coins. Blue's fine with this. Looking at his events, he's got no need for horses or gladiators. Green's cool with this too. But Purple, across the table, shares Red's desire for the horses and the gladiators. He's got that Cavalry of Spartacus event, and look, he's already got 2 of each. And if he were to score that market, he'd be able to produce that event this turn, and that'd be sweet. So, 12 coins, says the purple player, upping the bid. Sucker! Oh yeah, replies Red. 18 coins. 25 coins! Purple exclaims at last. Beat that! 25 coins, huh? Wow, that's a lot. And Red concedes. Purple outbids, and after paying the 25 coin price, scores the market. Now typically we'd restock the empty market, but in the event the starting bidder, which was Red, ends up not scoring the market. It stays empty and proceeds to the next player. Blue wants to put on that event on the left and needs more comedians. Those are the yellow dudes. There's a market with a couple of those. He bets 8. No one contends, and he purchases that market. Now here we've got the starting bidder. That's Blue this time, winning the bid. So the empty markets get restocked, drawing from the magic black asset sack here. Isn't it grand? Alright, moving along. It's Purple's turn now, but he's already scored a market, remember? Snatched it up from Red with the superior bid, so we skip him and move on to Green. He's looking to produce the Ode to Aurora, but needs more musicians. Those are those lime green guys, and he's only got 1. See? Well, I'll bid on that market, says Green, bidding a minimal 8. Anyone care to outbid me? Well, who can outbid him? Only players who are yet to score a market from bidding this turn are allowed in. Purple outbid Red this turn, and Blue won his own bid. So the only other player that can is Red. But he's all like, I need horses, not that stuff. So Green wins the bid too, pays the coins, and gets the assets. Now it's time for phase 3, trading. Starting with the Red player again, he didn't score any assets from bidding, so he's still sitting there with his 2 gladiators. And that's still only going to score him 5 spectators. But now that it's the trading phase, he can trade coin and or assets with another player. He sees Blue's got a horse just sitting there, You don't need that, red says. You'd probably want this blue structure instead. You've already got 3, and we're still yet to get to why that's a good thing. So they trade, and red manages to score a horse. Super. Blue now tries to entice purple into trading a red gladiator for his forced green decoration he's got. That's the last asset blue needs to put on his Amphitryon event. Purple thinks, well, I might use that to produce this tribute to Munis I've got, but I'm all about doing my cavalry to Spartacus. And for me, the more gladiators, the merrier. So okay, here you go. And green decides not to trade. So all right, phase 4, produce an event. Remember those dice? It's time to roll them. Red goes first, and because he's invested in his Emperor's Lodge, gets to roll both of them. And he does. He gets a 3 and a 4 and can move the dudes clockwise around the track as he pleases. Looks like he spends the 3 die moving the Emperor into his arena. And this blue console moves forward with the 4 die. But what's this? He lands on a square that a yellow senator currently occupies. That's cool, but what's extra special is that with his dice roll, red manages to land a dude on his space with a medallion on it. This scores red a medallion, and that's one of these. You can spend it at any time you see fit on either from left to right here, getting 3 additional spectators, moving a dude left or right, 1 to 3 spaces, or getting 6 coin. If you manage to collect 2 during the game, you can turn them in to invest in 2 things during that first investing phase. So back to red. It's now time to put on an event, and he's going for that race of Janus. He's got 2 gladiators, but only 1 horse. That puts him 1 shy of the full amount. As you can see, it scores him 7 spectators. He's got that Emperor in his arena for the event too. When you've got a yellow senator, it scores you 3 additional spectators. The blue consoles grant a +5. And the Emperor, he gives you 7. But check it out. That yellow senator there's awfully close. If only there was a way to nudge him in. But there is. Remember that medallion red just scored? He decides to use it now to move him 2 spaces backward. So, counting it all up, the assets in his event, along with the Emperor and Senator, give red a total of 17 spectators. He moves his peg up to the number 17 along the outside of the board and scores that many coins. Now it's Blue's turn. He bought that season ticket and has no Emperor's Lodge yet, so he rolls only 1 die and gets a 1 to 3, so he chooses to move a console 2 spaces into his arena. He's got all the goods for his event, scoring a full 7 there. And along with the console and the season ticket there, scores him, well, let's see, 17 points as well. He moves his peg, gets the 17 coin. And now it's Big Purple's turn. He's got an Emperor's Lodge, so he rolls both dice and rolls a 3 and a 6. He's going to spend it all on that blue console that was in Blue's arena last turn, moving him 9 spaces total. Now before we get into counting up his cavalry of Spartacus, let me finally explain what happens when you have a lot of a certain kind of asset. As you can see, Purple's got a lot of gladiators and horses. If a player has at least 3 of a certain asset and more than any other player, he scores a star performer. If there's a tie, then no one gets it. Each one grants you a +4 to your event, so check it out. He's got 3 gladiators and 3 horses, and more of each than anyone else, so he gets 2 star performers contributing to his event. And let's not forget that console he moved in too. So for his event, the assets bring in 12, the 2 star performers bring in 4 each, and the console gives him another 5, for a grand total of 25. Nice work! And he earns the 25 coin back that he blew on that huge bid against red. Lastly, green rolls a 2 and a 1 to 3, and manages to move the senator and a console into his arena, and has all the assets to fully produce his Ode to Aurora event. But check it out. In his collection of assets he's not using, shouldn't he get a star performer for the 3 sky blue ships? Why, yes. However, no ships are being used for this event, so he won't get that +4. You've got to have it in the show. But he does have a console and a senator there. So, for the full show and the 2 dudes, green scores 15. Move the peg. Get the coins. We're ready for Phase 5, closing ceremonies. First, a podium is awarded to the arena of the player who currently is in the lead. This +3 applies for the rest of the game. So for this turn, Purple gets this one. Second, everyone has to choose a single asset from the event they just produced and give it up. Then you turn the event over and it stays in front of you, giving you a +5 for the rest of the game. Third, the player currently in last place gets to ask the player currently in first place, in this case Purple, for any one asset of his choosing. Looks like green wants one of Purple's horses. so he gets it. Lastly, red passes the first player token off to blue on his left. And turn number 2 will start with him, beginning again with phase 1.